Welcome to class, you guys. So if you guys can take out your notebooks and start the do now. And what I'm asking is for you to write the equation, the formulas for the area of a rectangle and for the perimeter of a rectangle. And can you let me know when you're done by putting your pencils down? Thanks. So Victoria, what did you get for area of a rectangle?
I got length times width.
Length times width. And that equals the area. Good job. And Elizabeth, did you get the perimeter of a rectangle?
Perimeter equals 2 times length plus 2 times width.
2 times length plus 2 times width. And that equals the perimeter. Nice job. So we're going to be using these equations, or at least one of them, for this problem that we have on the board. So I'm going to read it to you guys. A piece of 42 centimeter copper wire is bent into the shape of a rectangle, whose width is twice its length. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. So first, we need to identify what we know and what we don't know from this equation. So what are some facts or information that may be useful to solve this problem? Does anybody have any ideas? Elizabeth and then Victoria.
There's a 42 centimeter piece of copper wire.
Yeah, that could be an important number. That's good. And Victoria, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that goes under what we know.
Okay. And what do we, so we know that 42, and what do we know that 42 is? What do we think it is?
It's how much wire we have.
True. So 42 centimeters of wire. Okay, so what happens to this wire? What change does it go through?
They make it into a rectangle.
Yes. And do we have an equation that can help us that relates to rectangles? Well, I guess we have two of them, right? We have the area and the perimeter. Do we know enough information to know which one?
We know that its width is twice its length.
Okay. Width is twice its length. And okay, so that's another thing that we know. So what is a variable, in a second, Elizabeth, what is a variable we can do for width?
W.
W. And to represent, so, and width equals, so how can we convert this sentence into numbers? So we have the width can translate into equal. Twice its length. What does twice mean? Are we making it go more or less? Whoever wants to answer, if not, it's okay.
Oh, 2 times.
It's 2 times. Twice means 2 times. Cool. And then length, we're going to use the letter L to represent length. So that is how we got, that's what we do to translate this sentence into that formula. You were going to say something, Elizabeth.
Oh, we need to find dimensions.
Okay, yes. That is what we need to find. That is totally right. And what are the dimensions? What are dimensions of a rectangle?
How big it is.
How big it is. So we need to find the dimensions. Find the dimensions. Or how big it is. And we kind of, okay, let me finish writing this. Find the dimensions, or how big the rectangle is. Okay. And so what can tell us the size of a rectangle? If we have this rectangle, we have, what tells us the size? Yes, Elizabeth?
Perimeter.
The perimeter tells us what size?
Because you add the length and the width tells you how.
Okay, so you're saying that dimensions, you're saying that the problem is asking us for the perimeter. Okay, so we want to know the perimeter. And what makes up the perimeter?
The wire.
What did you say, Victoria?
The wire.
Yes. And what is the wire equal to?
42 centimeters.
So we want, so then technically this isn't right then. If we want to know the perimeter and you say that 42 is equal to the perimeter, because you just said that the perimeter equals the wire and then the perimeter is equal to 42. Yes, Elizabeth?
I think we want to know how big each side is, and then we
So-
use the perimeter because we're adding up the sides.
So we want to know what to add to make up the perimeter. And in that case, it would be the sides, meaning the length and the width. So we want to know the length and width. Length and width. Okay. I realize that this is kind of jumbled up. Does this make sense to everybody as to what we have so far? So we're saying that we want to find the length and the width, and which make up the dimensions of the rectangle, and that we already know that we have 42 centimeters of wire, and we've decided that the wire, which is 42 centimeters, is converted into this rectangle, and because it's the same piece of wire and nothing has been changed except for its size, we can assume that this 2 is equal to 42. 42. And by adding length, width, and length, we can get to the 42, right? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So now we're going to make this into an equation. And we already decided that we're going to use the perimeter, right? Perimeter equation. So if, Victoria, can you read the perimeter equation to me?
Perimeter is equal to 2 times the length
Mm-hmm.
plus 2 times the width.
Perfect. And what is, we discussed this before, what does P equal?
42.
Okay, so we're going to substitute the 42 in. And do you see anything else under what we know that we can substitute in to make it one variable instead of 2 variables? Yes, Elizabeth?
Width is 2L.
Width is
So
2L?
we can put that in for W.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to keep the 2L, and so we're going to keep the 2, and we're going to use the parentheses to keep the W, what makes up the W together. So W equals 2L, so we're going to put in 2L for the W. Is everybody keeping up so far? Perfect. So now that we have our equation, we're going to solve it. So what's the first step to solving this equation? We have a couple options. Does anybody have a suggestion? Go ahead, Victoria.
We have to distribute the 2.
Okay. How do we do that?
We're going to multiply.
Multiply. So we got 2 times 2, and what is that?
4.
Perfect. And then we're going to carry down the L. I'm going to bring down the rest of the equation. So we have 2L plus 4L equals 42. And then next step, what do you think? Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Combine like terms.
Combine the like terms. Very nice. And so we have 2 and 4, and that equals what?
6.
Perfect. Last step. Almost there, you guys. So we have 42 equals 6L. And what do we do? What's the opposite of multiplication? Go ahead.
Oh, are we going to multiply by 6?
We're going to multiply by 6? Why would you want to do that?
Because we have to get the 6 to the other side.
We could. But that's not how you Okay, this right now is a multiplication problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is 6 times L, right? We'll put a little multiplication sign in there. But to get L by itself, or to cancel out that, we need to do the opposite of multiplication. And what is the opposite of multiplication?
Division.
Okay, so we're going to divide instead of multiply.
Okay.
Because what happens if you multiply, so if we did multiply, we would get a bigger number on this side. We would get 36L equals whatever 6 times 42 is, and that'll be a lot more complicated. But good try, thank you. So we're going to divide like this. And so that makes the 6's turn into a 1. And so we get L equals, what is this? 7. So we have one part of our answer. Okay, so now that so under the stuff that we need to find, we have the length. Now we need to find the width. And instead of substituting it all back into this big equation, is there a smaller version or a smaller equation we can use? Yes, Elizabeth?
You can use width is equal to 2 times L.
Perfect.
To find the width.
Equals 2L. So that's what we're looking for, right? The width. We're going to keep the 2, and we're going to substitute in what we found, which is 7. And that, well, there we go. Not bad. Okay, there we got this. So we're going to multiply those together. And what is 2 times 7?
14.
Perfection. Good job, Victoria. W equals 14. And now that we have our information, so we've answered all of our unknowns, right? We want to know what the dimensions are, and we decided the dimensions are length and width. And we got that 7 is equal to length, and that the width is equal to 14. Now, the last part of word problems is writing out our final answer. And the most tricky part is to always remember to put your units. And so let's write this out into a sentence. So what can we say? What is something we can say to answer this? Yes, Elizabeth?
The dimensions of the rectangle are 14 centimeters.
So good job, you remember the units of the rectangle. Are, you said 14 centimeters?
And 7 centimeters.
And 7 centimeters. That's very good. Perfect. So this is how you convert a word problem into an equation. Are there any questions, anything that doesn't make sense to you?